that power of love is what makes Christianity, as all other revealed, what is based on revealed teachings, universal. Universal. This is why, for great sages of India, there was absolutely no difference whatsoever. Not a sliver, not a hair width separation between their own Hindu-based tradition and, let's say, what the teachings of Christ was exemplified. All right, take two. Guten Morgen, happy Easter, Jesus has risen. Jesus has risen. What's your answer? He has truly risen. No? Even I remember that. So you don't have that here? You don't have that? Okay, so I'm like revealing some Orthodox roots. That's what you're saying, Easter. Jesus has risen, and whoever said that to you, your response is, he has truly risen, and you kiss on the lips. So of course, great opportunity to kiss the one who would never kiss you, you know. So, and, you know, well, that's where I grew up at least, right? In Uzbekistan, in little pockets of Christianity, right? Orthodox Easter is not now, it's later, because the calendar is different. So we respect tradition, even if it somehow gone on a spin of something maybe other than what originally the teaching represent, because we shall never know. So this is also, I would start today's, let's say, greetings with the fact that in Rome we behave as Romans, is an old good proverb. And this goes also as a reminder to every one of you who either awakened, going through awakening, planning to awaken, or considers yourself awakened. I've seen it so many times, people think that they now walk out of the matrix, took the right pill, they don't belong to the society. Bad idea, you know, bad idea. Yes, there is a phase when you walk out on the street and you walk there and you're in your sadhana and you see people as zombies, sleepwalkers. Yes, that's definitely something to that. You feel, because you're awakened, all your senses, all the doors of perception are, you know, and you can feel how not everyone is in that place. You can feel like people as if on some kind of drugs. And then, with time, you come out on the street again. Well, obviously, you go in and out, and then you come out on the street, and you don't feel people like zombies anymore, or different, or aliens, or you feel everyone is there, like yourself, you know, like your very dear own self, part of you. And in some cases, when the intimacy grows between that very tension, that creative tension exemplified here by Shiva and Nara, right, that resonance there. We are all that resonance. Somewhere a long time ago, it flew out of the tongue, you know. This universe is Shiva humming its own name to itself. And that's what this is a very, very perspective we speak from. See? Ah, vowel, uninterrupted sound, eternal sound, ah, an open vowel, right? Ha, this is right, where the consonant, the sound is now collapsing, going into something particular, this different kind of force there. There's a force, there's power, right? It gets articulated towards something. Aham. And that, that's what the reverberating mother, that's the universe. Every one of us hear that reverberating sound, frequency, vibration. We are the hum left after the giant cosmic bell has been struck. That resonance left. You know? Have you ever experienced that next to a very large bell, when the bell is hit and the sound is gone and then this resonance left? Your cellular structure resonates with that. Resonates. That's what we are here. That's the whole universe. So, happy Easter, okay? Jesus has risen. It's a beautiful way of saying, you know, and the response, truly he has risen. See, it's a double confirmation. Jesus, risen. Everyone born so-and-so, right? Peter, you know, Paul, what have you, right? Hans, Fritz, Fridtjof, where is he? Oh, okay. He's not here. Never mind. Hannah, right? All of us have names, but risen to where? Risen to Christ consciousness. That's what it is. So he is Jesus Christ. So the cross simply is a symbol of reaching the place where the vertical and horizontal dimension of life is reconciled. The verticality of spirit reconciled with the horizontal plane of life through the heart, through your own very, very energetic center of the heart. This is the core message of Christianity, the religion of love. Because the message and the teachings of Christ, why it has that power, aside, of course, from everyone basked in its glory, including capitalizing on it, institutionalizing, as often is, if not always the case, with all religions. Religions are capitalization and institutionalization of revelation. We could put it that way. And whenever that happens, of course, there's some force still, there's power, there's Shakti. In case of Christianity here, that power that it carried, for me personally, someone who was born and considers himself to be an artist, expressed itself through art so profoundly. Particularly in some examples unparalleled in Western culture, in terms of heights it reached. Remember the words? This beautiful, beautiful, like we're sitting in the city of Vienna, right? For goodness sake. Like a little tribute, I think, right? At least a respectful nod. What was it? Right? Mozart. Who remembers this analogy between Mozart and Bach? Mozart is when God wants to speak to angels. And Bach is when God wants to speak to himself. I'm paraphrasing, I know this from many, many years ago in Russian language. This, you know, like that, very different music, very different musicians, very, very different composers. In Mozart, there is this unpredictable, almost on the ear, almost folk-like, dare I say, easy melody, but it is profound in terms of its nuances. And of course, he is the king of C minor that splits your heart in half. Each time it hits that note, it splits your heart in half, because there is this melancholy, there is this something that he felt since he was a kid. He knew his destiny, the Gandharva. He came here not knowing how to live his life. And that's what Gandharvas are. They come from a different region, a region of much, much more refined vibrations. Gandharvas, musicians, heavenly musicians. When they come here in a human form, they only come here to bring reminders of who we are in essence through music. That's the power of music. Only music can bring us that reminder at the most visceral, immediate level. So that in Mozart it's so tragic and at the very same time elevating. Tragic and elevating. Tragic, why? Because his life was tragic. His life was a freak of nature. He was a freak of nature. He was considered to be a freak of nature. Do you know that? Some people related to him as a freak of nature. Why do you think it gave rise to the Mozart-Salieri dynamics? Psychologists study that. They give it as examples. Salieri wasn't hopeless. Salieri was all sweat and work. Sweat and more work, hard work. He was an accomplished composer. Just look it up. Look it up. Salieri was a very well-known composer of a merit, but somehow forever he is destined to play this opposite of Mozart. Everything that Mozart was, Salieri wasn't, and hence the drama. There's this frivolity in Mozart. He is literally going with everything that is there, taking his attention. Because he's genius. He doesn't know the difference. As a kid, he was writing concerto at the age of what? 5. At the age of 5, he writing a concerto. He composes his first compositions at the age of 4. By teenage years, he is sent by his father to England to perform at the court. He is a teenager. He writes letters to his father. To his father, Leopold. My dear father, this is a very peculiar country. Unpredictable. You never know what it will turn out into. The day starts as a spring, only to turn into a hot blooming summer. And in the afternoon, suddenly the clouds come, and it becomes very miserable, and the hell falls down on earth. I can't wait to come back and be home with you. Yours, Wolfgang. Boy, freak of nature. And then you listen to his music. I dare you, whatever your taste, whatever your preferences, it's like washing yourself with a spring clean water. You know? Like literally spring clean water. That's what Mozart is. Taste, whatever. And then Bach. Very different music. It's like architecture. It's built solidly. Not a note thrown here, there, without a consideration what it carries. Every note carries a weight. It builds brick by brick, block by block. It restructures our own neurophysiology. You just listen, toccatas and fugues, written, of course, for the keyboard, for the organ, and then this, in our time and age, performed on various keyboards, on piano. Some of the most difficult compositions for piano to perform, because he was also an accomplished musician himself. He wrote music in such a way for keyboard. As a keyboardist, he played organ as a child already, right? Because he was also born in a family of musicians. Harmony there, transcendence. In Bach, we transcend the pain. In Bach, we transcend transcend all that, what we call human. So he is also a Gandharva, a very different one. So all this, of course, one way or another, is expression of that power. So that power of love is what makes Christianity, as all other revealed, what is based on revealed teachings, universal. Universal. This is why, for great sages of India, there was absolutely no difference whatsoever. Not a sliver, not a hair width separation between their own Hindu-based tradition and, let's say, what the teachings of Christ was exemplified. We notoriously know that from the examples of likes of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, or that of author of the autobiography of a yogi, Paramahamsa Yogananda, right? Who launched so many people into spiritual path. So many people. Paramahamsa Yogananda even has written his own not interpretations, but his own, we could say, renderings of the teachings of Christ, in a sense. They're very, very beautiful. So along with his commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, which were published some 10, maybe 20 years ago, more like that, more likely, in 2 volumes, beautifully published. The lesser known work where he gave beautiful elucidations on the teachings of Christ. There was no difference at all, because it's a religion of love, and the religion of love is the religion of the heart. It transcends all religions, isms. So people who insist on differences somehow still maybe are on the way of reconciliation. So therefore, it feels fitting to say Jesus has risen, because he has truly risen to the status of Christ, risen to the level of consciousness. Christ consciousness exemplifies that. Hence the meaning of the cross, the reconciliation of vertical and horizontal dimension, where life can be lived from a very different plane. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost in this plane of life. Nothing is lost from view. And this vertical dimension of life is also not lost. It's not lost, it's not hidden anymore. And that is truly, truly who we are, and that's the place to live life from. So Christ consciousness is therefore everyone's consciousness, even if in potentiality. That's what Maharishi Mahesh Yogi called cosmic state of consciousness.